Hey everyone. In today's video, we're going to take a look at some different properties of quadratic functions, specifically looking at the properties of the leading coefficient a, or the coefficient on our x term in our standard form. So we see here, given standard form of a quadratic function, that's f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Again, we're looking today at some of the properties and how changing our leading coefficient affects our graph. All right, so in general, we have two different ways this could happen. One is if a is positive or negative. When a is positive, that means that our parabola opens upwards, so that means that it would look something like this. Our parabola would be facing up. And if a was negative, the parabola would be opening downwards, which is obviously the opposite. Okay, so that flips it. All right, and also we see if a is greater than 1, the parabola is more narrow. Okay, so we'll say it's narrow like this. All right, so in any number greater than 1, and the parabola is wider, something like that, when your value is less than 1, but also greater than 0, which isn't included here, but as far as positive, it would have to be a fraction to be wider. So anytime the leading coefficient is a fraction, that means that the parabola is wider. All right, let's take a look at a couple more detailed graphs of these. All right, so again, looking at the direction of opening, just again, a little review. We know that when we have a positive leading coefficient, it opens upwards, and when we have a negative leading coefficient, it opens downwards. So we see here in our first parabola, our leading coefficient on x squared is a positive 1, meaning that our graph is opening upwards. And on our second graph, g of x, we see that our leading coefficient is negative, or negative 1 in this case, which means it would be opening downwards. All right, and again, looking at the steepness of the quadratic functions, okay, we know that if our leading coefficient a is greater than 1, so in this case we have a 4, we have a 3, we have a 2, all numbers that are greater than 1, and you can see that those parabolas, the pink one, the red one, and it looks like a green one, those three are the steeper of the parabolas, as opposed to down here where we can see our 1/2 x squared, 1/2 being the a in that case, and we can see how wide that parabola is. Okay, so those are just some general properties for how the leading coefficient of a parabola or a quadratic function given in standard form affects the graph of our parabola. All right, again, when a is positive, it opens upwards. When a is negative, it opens downwards. When a is greater than 1, the parabola is more narrow. When a is less than 1 or a fraction, still greater than 0, the parabola is wider.